All right, so this is Mamata Banerjee on the Sansad inauguration. She's put out a tweet on the same. She's put out two pictures to show what has transpired earlier in 1947, where you can see there are leaders after independence is one picture that she has tweeted, and below that is a picture of yesterday's scenes as where the Adheenams were seen with the Prime Minister, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman also seen in those pictures, and that's the contrast that's sought to be put out by Mamata Banerjee in that tweet. After Adheenam, after independence and now. That's the two pictures that, and those are two slogans or the captions that have been given to both of those pictures that have been put in contrast, while several of the top freedom fighters are seen in the earlier picture after independence, and assumably that was taken in the Parliament House. The background does reflect that, though it is Parliament House. And now following that, in the new Parliament, the picture that has been taken of Prime Minister with the Adheenams or the saints and seers from Tamil Nadu's various spiritual centers who were in fact present for the puja that took place ahead of the Prime Minister's of the new Parliament's inauguration. The Prime Minister, of course, being also prostrating before the Sengol and before these religious leaders from Tamil Nadu. Let's take this across to Pranesh. Pranesh, a very clear contrast that the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is trying to bring out of the scene post-independence and now. All right, I believe we have Tamal on the phone line. Tamal, a very clear contrast that is sought to be drawn here by the West Bengal Chief Minister, Mamata Banerjee. She has clearly compared the scene post-independence in Parliament and now two different contrasting pictures that have been posted by the West Bengal Chief Minister. Take us through what exactly is the TMC trying to convey.
Well, first of all, Trinamool Congress did boycott the entire Parliament inauguration ceremony, and they called it nothing but an attempt only by BJP to appropriate quote-unquote democracy. In fact, there are Trinamool Congress MPs who have questioned the need for a Parliament at this juncture, and should other priorities be given more priority by BJP, by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, we know that Trinamool Congress was invited. Trinamool Congress chose not to be part of it, and after a day after the inauguration, Mamata Banerjee has taken to social media to tweet a picture trying to reflect upon the difference where Prime Minister Modi can be seen with all the priests who got this angle, and also Jawaharlal Nehru in the other picture, which is after independence. Well, she has very interestingly left the picture to the interpretation of people and not said a single word, did not make any other statement along with this particular picture tweet. But then she is certainly trying to highlight a contrast, and whether this contrast is bordering the religious aspect, again, Trinamool Congress and Mamata Banerjee can answer. But at this point in time, she has in a way raised her reservation, put forth her reservation about the ceremony which happened yesterday and the picture which is now in public domain, by drawing a contrast as what really happened, how things transpired after independence in the Parliament, and possibly she's trying to highlight that how opposition chose to give it a skip, and without opposition Parliament getting inaugurated with a set of people alongside Prime Minister Modi. Possibly she's trying to insinuate that that doesn't reflect democracy. We have to wait and see whether more opposition parties come out with such analogies and interpretations. Well, that could possibly give a direction if the opposition unitedly is thinking about the same thing in the same way, and if that would also mean that all the opposition parties together would be stressing on a same line of argument.
All right. In fact, stay with us, Tamal. Let me quickly bring in Siddharth Talia on that note as well. Siddharth Talia, we have a picture there of the Prime Minister below with the Adheenams who were very much part of that inauguration ceremony that took place yesterday, the puja that took place before the formal part of the inauguration. Union Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is seen there, Mr. Kishan Reddy, another Union Minister, L. Murugan, Minister of State, also seen there with the Prime Minister and the Adheenams. Whereas if you contrast that with the picture that is above, after independence, you see the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru with Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, as well as Maulana Azad, BR Ambedkar, amongst the freedom fighters and dignitaries who are seen in the earlier picture post-independence. A clear contrast that is sought to be painted here by Mamata Banerjee.
And Madhav, what's very interesting about the picture that she's put out is, of course, the image that you see here above, which says after independence, is actually the image of the first interim cabinet. Remember, we only had our first general elections, Madhav, in the year 1952. And therefore, in the absence of an elected parliament, right after independence, Jawaharlal Nehru actually brought together people from different political parties who may not necessarily have been ideologically predisposed towards the Congress, but they were all, of course, constituents of the first interim cabinet, which was a collection of individuals from different political parties who came to constitute that body. So you can see Babasaheb Ambedkar here, who was, of course, the law minister at that point in time. There's also Shyama Prasad Mukherjee sitting to the extreme right. Now, these were all people from different parties who came to form the interim government right after independence before the first general election. As a contrast, and this is the image, or this is the message that Mamata Banerjee appears to be conveying here, that the image that you see down below is clearly not as inclusive as what we saw right after independence. The irony here, of course, Madhav, is the fact that several opposition parties, at least 20 of them, voluntarily chose not to be part of the inauguration proceedings on the 28th of May. So can Mamata Banerjee actually be making this claim of this government not being inclusive when she voluntarily chose not to attend the inauguration proceedings, and neither did the Congress as well as the AAP as well as other opposition parties?
All right, stay with us. We have Priyanka Tibrewal joining us. Priyanka Tibrewal, your response to this tweet that has been put out by West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee.
Hi, very good evening. It's so silly of Mamata Banerjee to pinpoint what is she trying to say or put a taunt on. That is what she has missed. That was the beauty. And that was the beauty that people valued our independence and democracy then, that all the parties unitedly, they sat. And what did Mamata Banerjee and her party and other opposition do? They chose not to attend. Because you see, it is their envious nature that they were envying Modi ji so much that they forgot that this is now the opening of a parliament
Right.
which is not
Priyanka
of only one
Tibrewal,
party.
please stay with us. Please stay with us. We also have a TMC spokesperson, Mr. Jayaprakash Majumdar. Mr. Jayaprakash Majumdar, you heard the previous speaker, Priyanka Tibrewal of the BJP. She says that it's not a fair comparison because while, in fact, the first cabinet was an attempt to bring all parties together, varied opinions together, what has happened in the new parliament's inauguration is that 21 political parties voluntarily chose to boycott that event. So they're saying it's not a fair comparison to make. Your response, Mr. Majumdar.
Now, first of all, there was a primary incident, and the boycotting by opposition party is secondary incident. The primary incident was the present regime at center, led by Prime Minister. They have boycotted the President of India. That is most shameful. And as a result of this primary event, the opposition party boycotted the so-called inauguration. And second question, this is the whole, our constitution starts with 4 very valuable words. This is the temple of democracy, temple of people, not temple of religious places. But the Prime Minister has transferred it at the temple of religious places, not of the people, and also he has tried to be a king, not the democracy. He wanted to show the kingship.
Okay.
That inauguration of a kingship.
Okay.
That is very,
So 2 points that you're making
about the Indian democracy.
Yes, Mr. Jayaprakash Majumdar, 2 points that you're making, and I want Priyanka Tibrewal to respond to those 2 points. A, that it has become the temple of only one religion. That is a point that is being made by him. And B, that it is the symbols of kingship that are being shown and not that of democracy. Your response to these 2 points, Priyanka Tibrewal.
Not at all. See, first of all, see who's speaking. A party which chose not to support a woman who came from a scheduled community. They chose not to vote for the President Draupadi Murmu. Leave aside that. They did not even fail, to call her names and, compare the color of the skin. Their party MLAs have said all that. And now they are speaking about giving respect or paying respect or not. See, I think the president of our country is very vocal and she herself needs to speak if there's anything. But there's nothing. So these people are just trying to pinpoint fingers towards Modi ji. Their jealous and envious nature is very visible. Those who are dying to become the Prime Minister of the country.
Yes, Mr. Majumdar, your response.
Yes, my question to my friend Priyanka Tibrewal is, suppose for the sake of argument I agree that some political party at some point of time did not show due respect to our new President Draupadi Murmu. Is that the reason that Narendra Modi decided to insult her and to boycott her from this solemn occasion? Is that the reason?
Nobody boycotted anyone. Nobody boycotted anyone. It is the TMC who was unable to praise the Prime Minister.
And she is a lawyer. I understand she is a lawyer.
All over the world.
Does she know?
He is being well
Listen,
respected
Priyanka,
all over the world. It is only people like
know
Mamata Banerjee who fail to give
constitutional-
respect. And sir, you also
constitutional
know
definition
that
of parliament. My question is,
All right, but the President's address was read out yesterday in the House, and
Only
perhaps that
Modi
should be taken as the last word. I'd like to thank both of you for joining us, Mr. Majumdar and Mr. Brewal, on the show, expressing your views on this latest tweet that's come in from the West Bengal Chief Minister. There's a response.